Hi, my name is Christian Polisic. I'm 13 years old and I just graduated the 8th grade. And I live in San Leandro, California. For my dish, first I'm going to roast this red pepper on the burner on real high heat. Now right now I have to let that char for a couple minutes on each side and rotate it very carefully so I don't burn myself. You can probably stop it right there. Right now I'm julienning some cucumbers and I'm going to pickle them in this little bowl I have right here with chilies, garlic, rice wine vinegar, salt and pepper. This is going to be a little bit of a spicy, acidic kick to the scallops that I'm going to be searing later with the creamy cauliflower puree. Cooking to me is just my passion. I've loved cooking since I learned how to watch TV. Being in the kitchen has always been so natural for me, and it's like I was born with a knife in my hand. Let me stop it there. Right now I'm actually taking the herb leaves off of a couple sprigs of Thai basil and cilantro. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going to use the stems, which is normally a throwaway item for these, when the stems actually have a lot of flavor. So what I'm going to do is make this wine reduction sauce. And I already have a couple of lemongrasses that are smashed right in the pot over there. And right now I'm going to toss all of these stems right in. Now I can just turn the pan up and bring this to a boil. And over here is a good tip. Actually, I took the red bell pepper after I took it off of the stovetop, put a layer of plastic wrap over, and it helps make the skin easier to peel off later. Now for the cauliflower, I have to chop it up, and I have a pot over there that I'm starting to boil the water, and I'm going to put it right in there. Actually, my inspiration for this dish right here was just going to the grocery store and seeing all of these beautiful fresh new items and wanting to be creative. Creativity is probably my favorite part of being a chef because you're free to use whatever flavors, whatever ingredients, just whatever you want to do, and you get to put a little bit of yourself and your personality on a plate. To me, my personality in cooking is that I love using a lot of fresh and healthy flavors. I do still splurge a little bit from time to time, but I do, for the most part, like to eat healthy and use a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables in my cooking. You stop. Right after the water comes up to a roaring boil, I'm going to season it with a pretty heavy amount of salt to make sure that that cauliflower is really flavored. Turn it down and then add the cauliflower. And that only needs to boil a couple of minutes before I put it in the food processor to puree it. On the cutting board right now is a leek that I cut in half, and then I rinsed it under cold water to get all of the sand and the grit out from the inner leaves. That's a good tip and an easy way to get them clean. What I'm going to do with these is later, when the oil heats up, I'm going to very quickly fry them so they're going to be a little bit of a crunch element on my scallops. Right now I'm just going to take about a handful of the leeks and toss them right in with equal parts flour, cornstarch, a pinch of salt, and a pinch of pepper. And then right now I'm actually going to use a trick that my grandma taught me on seeing if the oil's hot enough without a thermometer. You take the end of the wooden spoon and you make sure that there's bubbles, and that tells you the oil's hot. So right now I'm just going to take some of these leeks and throw them right in until they get golden brown. Make sure the heat is only down on medium so that nothing burns. Actually, most of the time I find myself making my food inspired on all of my cultural background. I use a lot of Asian flavors like the lemongrass and cilantro, and I also use a lot of Mexican flavors like maybe a little spice here and there, or some salsa, or just anything. And also, of my European background, guides a lot of my love for pasta and all of those other goody treats. Oh, it's done, right? In this food processor right here, I have the roasted pepper. That you can see I took the skin off, but left a little bit of those charred bits for a lot of depth of flavor. I have the boiled cauliflower that I boil for about 5 minutes or until tender. 3 cloves of chopped garlic, and about a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Right now I'm just going to add in a pretty good amount of salt to season it well. And over here, I reserved some of the water that I boiled the cauliflower in, and I'm just going to add that as needed to give it a creamy texture, but without adding many calories, and just keeping it really flavorful with the cauliflower. This is going to blend for a couple of minutes until it's really creamy and it's going to be a red color. After the cauliflower pureed for a couple minutes, now I'm going to taste it and see if it needs any more salt. Actually, it could use a pinch more salt. And I'm going to give it another whirl until it's seasoned. You must be wondering, where are the scallops? Where's the main part of the dinner? With my sauce reducing and simmering with the wine and the lemongrass and ginger, right now I'm going to do a chiffonade of some of the basil leaves I removed earlier from the stems that I put in the sauce. I'm going to show you a little example of how I do it. Chiffonade is just a fancy term for rolling up leaves of an herb or just leaves in general, and then giving them a really thin slice until they look like ribbons when you cut them, when you bring them out. You could have stopped it. Right now I have a really, really hot pan with a little bit of oil. And this is how I'm going to do my scallops. You want to get a really good sear on these. Now that's the sound of happiness right there. You want to get a really good sear on these. And quick too, because they really easily overcook. That's a huge thing with scallops. Scallops are one of the more difficult proteins to work with, but that's kind of why I like them. I'm always up for a challenge. And I'm very adventurous, especially when it comes to new flavors, new cooking techniques, and just anything to do with food. I just took these scallops off of the heat, and as you can see, they're very beautifully seared. And oh my God, it smells so good. Next is the time for presentation. Now to talk a little bit about seasoning though, is that I prefer to use salt in each component of my dishes to make sure that all of the natural flavors are enhanced. And right now I'm going to do 4 little dollops of the cauliflower to rest the scallops right on. Everything just smells fantastic. I love the smell of fresh food. Now I'm going to take my tongs right here and carefully place each scallop on its part of the plate. Right now is where my mouth will start watering. This is just so good. And next, I have some leaves of some fresh baby Thai basil and cilantro. I'm just gonna throw a couple of these around for some color contrast and just a really beautiful, clean taste. And after I do that, I'm actually gonna go back to the fried leeks. So what I added to the fried leeks was a chiffonade of basil. And I'm gonna top each scallop with a little bit of the leek and basil mixture. All these flavors are just gonna go together so perfectly, with the leeks being that oniony flavor and the Thai basil and cilantro being that fresh herbal flavor. Everything is just so fragrant when it comes together. And don't think I forgot about these quick pickle cucumbers. These took only about 15 minutes to pickle. And right now I'm gonna take a little bundle, try to drain out most of it, and add it right on there. And I'm adding that chili right there for a little bit of kick, to make you wonder all the flavors. Okay. And after adding that beautiful pickled cucumber is this gorgeous fragrant sauce. It definitely thickened after the cooking time. So I'm just gonna drizzle it around the plate. And you can dip the scallops in it when you're ready. But my God, does that look like a really good dish.